and welcome to Kit by Kurti. This is my bullet journal YouTube account where I will be posting monthly videos of my bullet journal and the different themes that I do. The very first video for my account is for October, and this month's theme is all about fall leaves and warm fall colors. I did a pumpkin theme last year, which I also published in my Kit bullet journal. So I didn't want to repeat it this year, which is why I went for the whole leaves theme this year. But there are pumpkins still sprinkled throughout. It's still October. So for the sake of this video, because it's my very first video, so I didn't want to be completely unprepared when I shot it, which is why a lot of the designs are already drawn in pencil, which I mostly do anyways. Most of my designs that I do are drawn in pencil and then I go over them in a different color. Generally, the lighter colors such as oranges and yellows I will not draw in pencil because you can't erase once you go over it. But for the sake of this video and for the sake of it being my very first video, and I wanted everything to go perfectly, so I just drew over it, and I guess you can't see it, it's dark orange. But this is the title spread that you're looking at right now. I always do a quote on the left side, and it generally goes with the theme, and so this month's quote is, "Give 'em pumpkin to talk about," with a small pumpkin in the side. And I know I said that this month would not be about pumpkins, but you can't really have October without having pumpkins. The October title spread is all leaves, and I got that on Pinterest, and it's saved in my Pinterest board, so in case you want to follow me on Pinterest, all of my social media accounts will be linked below. But it's basically just a lot of leaves and of different designs. I know leaves are really hard to draw in fall. I struggled with leaves, but honestly, I just winged it. As you can see, I'm not even following some of my pencil designs. I'm honestly just winging it with my Flair pen. Speaking of Flair pens, let me talk about some of the markers and pens that I use, because I like to use the Crayola Super Tip markers. I know a lot of bullet journals people prefer that, and personally for me it's just easy. It's also very cheap and economically feasible if you're just starting out on bullet journaling, which I am. And I also like to use Flair pens because I always have them lying around, and I feel like they don't smudge that much with the markers considering other pens. Also, the bullet journal that I published, I did the whole thing with Crayola markers. So Crayola markers works perfectly for a bullet journal. As you can see, now I'm erasing, and the orange really didn't come, the orange had a lot of the pencil kind of left in it, but personally I'm okay with it. If you don't want that, make sure to not draw or write pumpkin in pencil beforehand. So I had a whole palette of reds, some browns, and then yellows and oranges mixed in for this whole theme of the month. I did not end up using all of them, but if you have the Crayola Super Tip 50 pack, I'm sure you can tell which ones I'm using. But honestly, I don't like to use too many colors when it comes to a month because I like to keep it consistent and have that whole month's color palette really pop out. So the brown that I ended up using, I thought it would be a darker brown, and personally I don't like the way it turned out completely. So feel free to use a different brown if you'd like. And also, one other thing that I would like to touch on with my calligraphy is that in my bullet journal I do fake calligraphy just for the sake of not messing up. I do not want to mess up on my bullet journal and then have to fix that in some sort of way. So I just do fake calligraphy because I feel like it's a lot easier, especially with the type of paper that a bullet journal has, at least my bullet journal, which is by Exceed. Also very cheap. less than $10, like totally feasible. I feel like just a calligraphy or a brush pen would just be really harsh on that particular paper. So I like just go in with the black Crayola marker over a Flair pen or any other Flair pen. Speaking of pens, I like to use a regular Flair pen and then honestly any other black pen that I can find, preferably ink pen, but there is no specific pen that I really like. I recommend a Uniball pen, especially the ones that are 0.7 ink, but other than that, I think anything goes well on the particular paper that my journal has. As you can see, there's a lot of different leaves on the title spread, and I just did random colors. Some of them are even outside the lines, but also I like the look of some of the leaves being colored outside the lines. I like the messy look. I think it really gives more of a fall vibe to it. It's a little imperfect, but that is its beauty. I was also running short on time when I filmed this, so feel free to change however you want to change the spread to your aesthetic. Or I also say that on my blog a lot, is that bullet journaling is really truly personalized. So although this is somewhat of a tutorial for you, feel free to change whatever elements that you would like to change, and please let me know. I'd love to see designs. So you can always tag me or hashtag #KitByKirti, and I will definitely check out your designs. I love seeing recreations of my designs or any designs for that fact. Also, this is my very first video, so I hope you can disregard any mistakes that you can find, and if you have any constructive criticism, please leave it in the comments below so I can use it on future videos. So now I'm at the monthly overview. Again, I drew in the basic outline beforehand just because I didn't want to mess it up during the video, and I just used an orange Flair pen to go over with it, but you can use whatever you'd like. So what I like to do is I like to have the boxes just for the days of the month. So I don't like to just draw in like a 5x7. I wanted to be specifically for the days. So October this year starts on a Tuesday, which is why for Sunday and Monday I drew in pumpkins, because I just wanted to like remind myself that October doesn't have a Sunday or a Monday, and I just like the look of that. On the side, of course, there are leaves, because the way I organize it is there's 3 boxes on the left hand side and then 4 boxes on the right hand side, so I always have some space left over on the left hand side, which is generally I just do the theme of the month. So for this month it was leaves. And then at the very bottom I always have a space for to do. I don't have any organized structure. I honestly just write in whatever I have to do for the month. So feel free to change that up as however you like. And as you can see, that was very fast and simple. This is probably the fastest spread that I do. To show you what some of my spreads will be looking like, I also decided to do one weekly spread in this video. So again, my idea was to do one big leaf as the weekly events for this spread. So I already drew that in because I didn't want to mess up during the video. And I know that sounds really like a perfectionist, that I do not want to mess up during this video, but also for this particular video I was on a time crunch when I was shooting it, so I just wanted to make things as easy as possible. For this weekly spread, on the right hand side, I drew in 5 lines of different colors. and I just wrote in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That was just to signify the different spaces for those particular days. And so the way I organize my weekly spreads is I always have daily boxes, which is the whole right-hand page for this spread. That is where I write down my tasks, homework to do, whatever I have to do on that particular day. And then I always have a weekly events area, which is the red leaf in this spread. So the weekly events area is where I write down stuff like tests, birthdays, club meetings, whatever it is that I have as an event but not necessarily as a task, which is the way I like to organize it. And then I also always have a monthly overview, which is pretty much just the dates of the month written out with the particular week highlighted that we're in. That just gives me like an overview of where we are in the month, which I like to keep in handy when planning. And then there's always a notes section, which is just for extra notes for the week that doesn't necessarily fall in on a day. I do get a lot of requests asking to put in weekend spaces, so let me know if that's something you'd also like and I can accommodate for that. Generally, what I like to do is just write down my weekend work on Fridays, since I don't have homework on the Fridays, or I make a separate page in my bullet journal that's just a weekend to-do list listing out all of my tasks. So let me know and I can definitely take that into consideration. As you can see, the notes is also just a leaf, and I drew a line in the middle because I use black pen for my bullet journal, so I can always just write in over the orange line. And then on the space left, I just drew in another leaf. And if you couldn't tell, I messed up when I drew that, but again, that's the beauty of doing it. You can always cover it up, and there's definitely very nifty ways to cover up mistakes in a bullet journal that I can go over in a different video. In case you couldn't tell, that weekly spread took me about 5 minutes to draw in, which is another one of the key points that I'd like to highlight, is that bullet journaling, I know it seems really time consuming because you have to make it look pretty, but it really doesn't. And also, it's very personalized. It doesn't have to be pretty. It can be as minimalistic as you'd like. So I really think that anybody who wants to, even without the artistic talent, can bullet journal. This is just an overview of the whole pages done and completely colored in. As I said, I'm sorry for having some of them already drawn in. We were on a time crunch, and I will definitely try to improve on that. So there is the title spread for October. There is your monthly overview spread. And that is your first weekly spread. I'll be posting the other weekly spreads on my Instagram, so make sure to follow me at Kit by Kirti. Thank you for watching.